Hey there, I'm Terry Johnson, founder of Keeping It Personal and the Refined Community, where we offer premium training, coaching, and community to women entrepreneurs and business owners. And my heart is all about bringing women together, inviting them to join us, simply to come as they are, be renewed, encouraged, fulfilled, inspired, nurtured, and equipped to take their next steps with purpose, personally, professionally, and we weave our faith into it, which is super awesome. And one way that we do this is we feature our members. So I'm thrilled to introduce to you and have the conversation with Lisa Babiak today. Thank you so much, sweetie, for joining us.
You bet. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So before we dive into some of these questions, maybe just give us like a 1 minute snippet, like what do you do? Who do you serve? Where are you from? That type of thing.
Sure. So I own Living Fully Balanced, and I am a coach and a speaker, and I work with women who are smart and empathetic, and they are feeling overwhelmed and maybe even a little drained by juggling all of the balls that they've got in the
Yeah.
air. So they're exhausted, and yet they are passionate about the people they love and the things they love. And my job is to help them stop running on empty so that they can slow down and enjoy the journey. You know,
Yeah.
you often say that.
That's good. And one way that you connect with women is you have a radio podcast. So what is the name of that? Just so we can give it a little shout out here.
Sure. The podcast is called Living Fully Balanced with Lisa.
Okay.
And they can find those, you all can find those recordings on my website. So that's livingfullybalanced.com.
That's
Thank you.
awesome. Yeah, I know that I've listened to a couple of them. I haven't been able to tune in all the time, but and every time I do, you do a great job. Just and I think stories are so amazing, and so just the perspective that you bring when you're talking and that type of thing is awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So Lisa, what is one thing that you've taken from your personal life that has impacted you and helped you thrive and be successful in your professional life, or vice versa? Something that you've learned in your professional life that's helped you grow and be better in your personal life.
Yeah. Um, so it's something I knew intellectually, and I think we all do, yet I struggled to feel it. And it's that control piece.
Mm.
So, for example, um, and I think many of your listeners, those of us in the refined community, are women who have been able to set our bars, and we've achieved it. So then we just set the bar higher, right? It
Yeah.
feels like when we do something, the results are in our control. And I will tell you that what I've learned from my personal life and how it affects, or how it impacts my now professional life, is that we literally don't have control. And I knew that intellectually. And we as women of faith know that the Lord is ultimately in control.
Hmm.
But I will tell you that in my 20-year marriage, 20 years into it, my then husband said, I've been having a 3-year affair.
Hmm.
I kind of thought that our relationship was fine. But when I heard the news, and when we processed all that, I realized, wow, my marriage isn't even within my full control, right? How I show up in my marriage is, but whether we stay together or not, sometimes ultimately it just wasn't in my direct control. I was
Right.
diagnosed with having a stroke at one point. Like 7 years ago, I learned that I have had a stroke in the past. And I thought that my health was in my control by how I choose to eat and move and sleep. And while all those things are critical, I have control over what I do, but I don't have control over the outcome.
Right. That's good.
So I learned that circumstances in life are out of my control, but how I choose to respond to the circumstances are always within my control.
Right. That's good. So that's great, especially as an entrepreneur and business owner, we can only do our part, right? And then we show up, we do what we feel is our next right step and the best thing to do. And like what I say a lot is we got to leave the results up to God, because we want them to go a certain way potentially, but if they don't, like you said, how we respond to it is everything.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's
Yep.
awesome. Great examples. And it's amazing how going through hard things helps us learn some really valuable, like priceless nuggets that we can use and apply in so many different areas of our life. So that's good, because we can look at them and use them as stepping stones, right, and move us forward, or roadblocks. So it sounds like you've really been able to use them as stepping stones, which is great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can gain wisdom a couple of ways. We can learn from our own experiences and from the experiences of others. So what is a significant piece of wisdom that you've gained by going through something, or that you've gained through another person?
Yeah. So I've learned through going through my divorce, building my business, that I actually am the expert of me and the care and keeping of me. When before I kind of gave up that role, that expert role. So in my divorce, I fully expected the attorneys and the counselors and the coaches and the financial advisors to be the experts in my outcome, and they were not.
Yeah.
I fully expected when I started my business. So I'm not a business person by nature. I was a teacher, and so owning a business all new to me. So I hired people who were experts to build the website and help me with branding, and none of it felt right, and none of it felt authentic, right? None of it felt like me. And I had to go within and realize that I am the expert of this.
Yeah.
And I have to decide how I market and how I show up. So I really think what I learned, and what I would hope all of us realize, is we have all the tools we need within. We
Mhm.
don't need to look without.
Right.
When we look above and talk to the Lord and get his advice and combine it with our internal wisdom, we're golden.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I do believe, like, obviously there are people that can help lead us and guide us, but when it comes to just what we feel to know is, or what we know is true, and that's challenged, I think it's best to go with what we know is true. Does that make sense? So I hear exactly what you're saying. It's so good to be reminded that we do know what's best for ourselves. We do. I mean, there are people that do great things that help. I mean, like, I couldn't be where I would never be where I am today without the help of a lot of amazing people.
Correct.
But when push comes to shove, I'm going to go with my gut. And if I've hired you to help me with something and I feel a certain way, this is the way it is, and I know this is best for me. So that's really good to just be reminded of. We know ourselves, and just to be confident in that. And one thing I tell people a lot is I believe we are equipped to take our next step, no matter what that next step is. Like, we have everything that we need right now, especially in our businesses. A lot of people are looking for that purple pill or the next best thing to get them to where they want to go. And I like to say, let's turn around and look back. What do we have currently in our toolbox? Let's do some digging and figure this out, because we can get your cash register to ring right now, and you can make as much money as you need to make right now to move you forward.
Yes.
And a lot of times people are shocked, but it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then of course, looking up, like you pointed us to, is such great advice. So what's one principle or tool that you apply to your life every day, Lisa, that helps you thrive, grow, or move forward?
Yeah. It's something that I started myself when I was in the darkest hours, after I was told by my husband of the 3-year affair. I felt like everything I knew in my life, well, and it was true, everything I believed to be true could have been a lie,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't. And I needed to start a daily ritual where I every day started with connecting with God, connecting with what I'm grateful for, and setting just 3 intentions for the day. And that was super hard when I was down, yet that was critical for helping me get up, right? And so as I began building my business, I recognized that all successful people are doing some form of a daily ritual. And
Yeah.
so I teach this to my clients, and everybody's daily ritual can be different, but
Yeah.
it to incorporate the mind, body, spirit connection. And so that's what I do. Before I get out of bed, I am praying, I am setting my intentions, and I'm thinking about what I'm grateful for, and I'm writing those things down so that I have
Hmm.
that to look back on.
Yeah, it's good. Like when you write things down to track your progress, and one
Yeah,
thing it helps you measure. Yeah, it helps you measure just like to see like the things that you fixed your mind on are actually coming true. And I
yes.
love that. Yeah, and I call it my soul food. Like I feel like I need that every morning to get my soul food before I jumpstart my day. So that's really good. And it's such a great reminder. Like you said, a lot of people that we see as successful or that we would maybe look up to gain wisdom from in some capacity or learn from, most often they're doing something very similar. So before we wrapped up, or before we wrap up, what is your favorite quote or verse, and why is that?
Yeah. So when life got so very chaotic for me, and I felt like everything around me wasn't the way, well, I felt like a tidal wave had kind of
Mm.
taken me under. And it was quite a while that I was just spinning at the bottom of the ocean. That's what it felt like. The verse from the Bible, Psalm 46, verse 10, be still and know that I am God. I would carry that in my pocket. I'd have it in my purse. I'd have it in my wallet. I had it in my notes during the time that I was in court, and it would ground me to the reality that I'm not in this alone. I don't have to do. I just need to be still.
Yeah.
No.
Hmm.
That is just powerful to me. And I think in our society that we're going and doing and trying and striving harder and harder. Yet I really believe the freedom and the success is in the stillness
Hmm.
and just knowing that God's got it.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. He knows it all. And sometimes we can get so anxious or want to move forward and be in that next space when what else we need to do is just be still. So, and there's another part of that. I think it's a different verse, but where it talks about where he's fighting for us, and it's not that, I can't remember it right now. I don't remember a whole bunch of scripture verses, but it's about like just knowing that he's fighting it. So we're just to be still, like he's got the battle for us. So that's super comforting. Well, thank you, Lisa. It's amazing to connect with you, and I love what you're up to and how you are inspiring women. You know, that's a huge passion of mine too. So it's just fun to know that there's other women out there doing it successfully, and I admire your work. So thank you for your time today.
Absolutely.
All
Good
right.
talking to you,
You
Jerry. Bye bye.
too. Bye.